Maximum speed limits, violations, and penalties for all U.S. speed limits, Part 1. The type of road and the volume of traffic using that route at any one time are two elements that are taken into consideration when setting speed limits. For example, trucks over a specific weight may be obliged to maintain a lower pace than other traffic using a roadway. Sometimes, unique speed limits are imposed for certain types of vehicles. Additionally, you can come across sections of road where the posted speed limit varies depending on whether it is daylight or nighttime. Based on these variables, various states choose their own top and bottom speed restrictions. In America, a Royal Expressway's top speed restriction can range from 65 miles per hour to 80 miles per hour, with higher limits more frequently found in western regions. Currently, a small section of a tolled roadway in rural Texas has the highest speed restriction in the nation, which is 85 miles per hour. For correct information on the speed restrictions in your state, always consult the driving manual that came with your vehicle. Basic law of speed. All posted and apparent speed limitations shall be subject to compliance with the basic speed law. According to this law, drivers are not allowed to go faster than is reasonable under the circumstances. Although it may have a different name in other jurisdictions, the fundamental speed law is the same in California and many other states. It requires considerable judgment to follow this law. Drivers are required by law to reduce their speed to a safe level if the listed speed limit on a road is 65 miles per hour, yet driving near to this pace would be hazardous due to the presence of ice on the road. Just like you would be for exceeding the posted speed limit, you might receive a citation for disobeying this rule. Under any of the following circumstances, you should obey the basic speed law by lowering your speed below the official speed limit. Due to ice, wetness, mud, chemical residue, or other conditions, the road has low traction. Rain, snow, fog, smoke, or barriers all impair visibility. There has been a collision on the road. Workers from the emergency services are working on the road or shoulder. Your ability to drive is restricted due to mechanical issues, your own health issues, or for any other cause. Maximum permitted speeds. The majority of speed limit signage mention top speeds. That is, depending on ideal driving conditions, the highest speed a driver is permitted to travel while using a particular section of road. The top speed restrictions for different kinds of roads vary. In California, 70 miles per hour is the top speed limit on any road. Only select highways with posted 70 miles per hour speed limits are affected by this. The top speed restriction is 65 miles per hour on the majority of Californian roadways. The top speed restriction on a two-lane roadway that is undivided, opposing lanes of traffic are not divided by a central barrier, is 55 miles per hour. To find out the maximum speed limits in your state, consult your driver's manual. Remember that no two roads are exactly alike. The risk of driving on one highway may be much higher than the risk of driving on the other, even if to the untrained eye two highways appear to be identical. Depending on the type of route, state governments may set speed restrictions that are higher or lower than usual. Always be aware of posted speed limits and abide by them. Minimum speed restrictions. On high-speed or limited access routes, minimum speed limitations frequently apply if going more slowly than other vehicles would be dangerous. On interstate highways in Florida, the minimum speed limit is 50 miles per hour, while the top speed limit is 70 miles per hour. The minimum speed limit is 40 miles per hour in urban interstate zones with maximum speed limits of 55 to 65 miles per hour. Though it's not always the case, minimum speed limits are typically signposted. If there are no posted speed limit signs, be sure to consult your state's driving manual for minimum speed limit guidelines so you will know when they apply. The primary speed limit regulation. Prima facie speed restrictions establish the top speed that is permitted on a particular kind of route, and they must be taken into consideration if no indications of a speed limit are present. The majority of states have set minimal speed limits for a commercial district, houses of habitation, zone schools, ambiguous intersections, regions close to railroad crossings. Prima facie speed limits must be followed if a speed limit sign is not there, so all new drivers must learn what they are in their state. Maximum speed limits, violations, and penalties for all U.S. speed limits, Part 2. Limitations on speed in commercial and residential areas. Primarily, residential and commercial areas have some of the lowest speed limits in the state. To protect public safety, vehicles must exercise extra caution and drive at slower speeds in certain regions due to the heavy volume of traffic, the presence of pedestrians, and other distractions. In both commercial and residential regions of California, the posted speed limit is 25 miles per hour. In many jurisdictions, the top speed limit is the same for both zones, although some states distinguish between the two. For instance, Colorado has a maximum speed limit of 30 miles per hour in residential areas and 25 miles per hour in business districts. Limits on speed in school zones. School zones typically have the state's lowest speed limits. Children are particularly at risk when crossing the street because they are easily distracted and might not be aware of a threat posed by oncoming automobiles. To safeguard children, parents, and drivers alike, low school zone speed limits are put in place. Here are some instances of speed limits in school zones. 25 miles per hour in California, posted speeds may be as low as 15 miles per hour. 20 miles per hour in Florida, posted speed limits may be as low as 10 miles per hour. These illustrations highlight the need for drivers to keep in mind that posted signs may occasionally reflect a speed limit that is lower than the state's maximum school zone speed limit. Lower limits may be applicable in some locations even when they are not stated, depending on the time of day or other circumstances. Make sure you are familiar with the rules by reading your driver's manual. Specified speed limits for vehicles. Various types of vehicles are subject to speed restrictions in many states. Anyone operating any of the vehicles listed below is prohibited under California traffic law from exceeding 55 miles per hour on a roadway. Similar vehicle-specific speed limitations are present in a number of other states. For information, consult your driver's manual. On any highway in California, drivers are not permitted to go faster than 55 miles per hour. Any explosives transporting vehicle. A bus or car carrying people towing another vehicle. A school bus transporting students. A bus trailer. A farm vehicle that transports people. Any truck, tractor, or motor vehicle with 3 or more axles. Any truck, tractor, or motor vehicle hauling another vehicle. Penalties and infractions. If you break the speed limit, you will pay for it. When violating a maximum, or minimum, speed restriction, you will be fined and possibly given a penalty. Your driver's manual has information on speed limit violations and the fines that go along with them. Remember that some states treat exceeding the posted speed limit as a criminal offense rather than a civil infraction. This is typically the situation when a driver travels at a pace of 20 miles per hour or more over the posted speed limit. Such drivers would be obliged to appear in criminal court and would face more severe penalties, such as a complete driving prohibition or a jail sentence. Bridges and other elevated constructions have speed limitations. On highways that go over bridges and other elevated structures, specific speed limits may occasionally be established. This is frequently the case due to a structure's increased vulnerability to accidents, their potential severity, or the possibility of the structure being destroyed by fast-moving vehicles. At the beginning and end of the bridge, signage indicating the posted speed limits will be placed in both situations to alert drivers. Varying speed restrictions. On some roads, the posted speed limit is flexible and subject to adjustment depending on traffic and weather conditions. The speed limit is shown on an electronic sign rather than a permanent printed sign because it is not consistent. Variable speed limits increase safety because they spare drivers from having to choose an acceptable safe speed when the going gets tough. Maximum and lowest speed limits may be displayed on electronic changeable speed limit signs. Limitations for nighttime driving. For drivers traveling high-risk portions of road at night, several states have speed limitations. These restrictions typically have lower maximum speeds than daytime restrictions by 10 to 15 miles per hour. On the same signpost, nighttime speed limits are typically displayed directly beneath daytime speed limits, frequently with white or reflective digits that are clearly visible at night. You should be able to find information on local evening speed limits in your state's driver's manual.